Hello, Ben, and welcome. I'm so excited to have you here today. So, thank you for taking some time out. First question to you is, who are you?
Oh, thank you very much, Mia. It's very nice to be here. I'm a multidimensional being, soul, currently traveling Earth, um, helping helping raise the vibration and level of consciousness, so um, we can become more aware of what's happening around the world.
Yeah, so some people when they're like, "Oh, I'm a soul of consciousness," that for some people's language, that's a little bit too much to take, isn't it? Like for you and I completely get what you're saying, but to translate it into other words, you're a soul on this earth. It has a purpose to shine the light in the darkness. Would that be another translation that you feel,
Yeah.
is a projection of who you are as a person? And I can resonate with that. I love that. So can you tell me a little bit of a brief background about yourself? I mean, obviously we're here to talk about the energetic healing that you do, the type of modality it is, but could you give me a little bit of a brief background into who you are and what kind of led you on this path?
Okay. So in this lifetime, I've chosen to have high functional autism. For this, so I could not be taken away by all of the rubbish that governments send to you and things like that, and brainwashing abilities. Um, so yeah, and also having this, I've always felt like an outsider as well, because a high percentage of humanity is brainwashed, more or less. They're just sleeping a little bit. And I guess I realized I was a bit different because I wasn't really interested in the things that other people were. Supono no sahana sahasihi yanahana ko ma kambanana suho kishingana sahasun no hononahai kai kishingana sahana no so yandana kata sapusu kundanda taisi kikia hasu kuahamahai. And I speak light language too. I was just speaking to my higher self.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for some people they'll be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
do we need subtitles for this?" But it's like as we delve more into this interview and how you actually heal, what your gifts are to this world. It's for a lot of people, even this concept of higher self. How would you explain that in terms that I understand my understanding of higher self, because I also use this phrase, that higher self, like when I'm meditating or I'm connecting to a line to source, like to myself. That's how I see it. It's like having a conversation with your higher self. But for people outside the realms of like the discussion that we're having here, how would you communicate what higher self is?
So first I would say, have they seen The Matrix?
Yeah. It's always a good one to use, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically how I see it. So, like in The Matrix, when they're inside, when they can do all the karate stuff and martial arts, they're basically what we are in here now. This is like the martial arts type of place. And when they call on the phone, they go back to source where everything really is. So also another way, if you're quiet and you're centered, mainly in nature, sometimes you might hear an inner voice. We have a couple of inner voices, but one of them is normally our true self, which comes from our higher self. So that inner voice or the gut instinct we have for something, if someone, how do you say, gives you an option of something. Do you want to go left or right? And you choose left automatically. You don't know why, but it just came to you. That is a message of guidance from your higher self coming down to you.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of following the theory of, well, it's not even a theory, it's a scientific fact that we have three brains, and the gut brain is the messenger. That is your instinct, that's your natural intuition, and it's quite often this that can the processor, the evidence collector, that can complicate everything with our beliefs that we develop over the years. But so how would you best describe what you do? I mean, I very sort of loosely sort of said, healer, working with energy, because people are familiar with the terms like Reiki. That seems to be more socially acceptable these days. How would you sort of differentiate your skills from something that's understandable for quite a lot of people? Like, with Reiki, I always see it, you hear a lot of people referring to it as tuning into a radio frequency and using your body as a vessel to heal others through a frequency. It's not you going, I'm going to heal you. It's not a projection of your thought, like a higher energy source that guides.
And another way of knowing you're connected with your higher self is sometimes randomly we think we get random bursts of goosebumps, mainly around our arms or our whole body. That is when our soul being, our natural self, finds truth within something. So, for example, if I'm giving someone a reading, for example, and I say something that their higher self, soul self resonates with, they will get like a shiver or a burst of goosebumps.
Yeah, I get that quite a lot, actually. Not even when we're talking, I'm like, yeah, that's great. So to ask you the question, I mean, how would you describe what you do, and how can it make a difference in people's lives? So we touched briefly on this, sort of the wording energy healer. And I know a lot of people, like, Reiki masters kind of explain, the way that they can heal people is actually by attuning to a frequency, and then the energy comes through them. It's not them kind of fixating and using their I must heal you, kind of like thinking that's going to heal people. How would you describe what makes what you do different and what you actually attune to? Because I know we're going to talk more a bit about the Akashic records in a bit, but how would you describe what you do?
So I'm very lucky because I have a clear connection to source via my subconscious. So the subconscious is almost like the portal between this lifetime or physical here, me human, and my higher self. So the messenger. So I'm lucky to have this clear connection. And if I'm going to be working with someone, I connect with their higher self, and they let me know what is needed. So it's very common or often that I will know a lot more about the people I'm treating than they know about themselves. Just because I'm trusted with this information and I only use it to help. So I use a varied amount of different energies. I guess the main energy I use is tachyon energy. Tachyon is an energy that moves 27 times faster than the speed of light. And it's the same energy that Jesus Christ supposedly used when he was here on earth. And also, this energy is in our human physical bodies as well. Parts of the atoms have tachyons. So I use the energy, but I don't make the energy. I allow spirit, the cosmos or consciousness, the universe, to send the energy down through me, almost like the frequency, like Reiki use, but this is a higher, more sensitive frequency than Reiki. And when it's channeling through, going through me, I project it to the people or person I'm working with. And then they will start to feel a warmth. Normally it's a warmth. And then they will start to maybe feel a bit of static because there's such a high level of energy going through the whole system. So I also use sacred geometry as well. Mainly Sri Yantra, the flower of life, Metatron cube, and things, but I project them through frequencies that comes through me in light language. You can, however, use printouts, put them and have the intention. Also, what I forgot to mention, intention is probably the most important part of healing or helping someone. And also the understanding that I'm not really the healer, I'm just the messenger passing on the energy. Because we're all the same in the end.
Yeah, we are. You know, that's a message I think that runs quite a lot in what my belief system is. And you know, it's kind of like an awakening, isn't it, when you realize the simplicity of things, that we're all connected as energy beings. We are all connected, you know, and that is part of life. Fundamentally, everything that's living, we're connected to. It's having the ability to actually attune yourself to that is something different. And I mean, you mentioned before that you have high functioning autism, and do you feel like in a way that's almost a blessing, because it's an ability to be able to filter out the things that people get distracted by? I've quite often seen, you know, things such as autism as actually a gift, because it's the ability to focus your brain and function of your brain being slightly different, you know, to the average. And you know, we're geared up now in society to be, you know, distracted a lot, like a lot of mental interaction. And I think, you know, for me, one of my biggest messages that I try to get out there on a personal level is about realigning and connecting to you as a being, and actually not getting distracted by all the noise. And that is, you know, that's so hard to do. And I don't know about you, but I wanted to ask you whether you have like a strict daily practice to keep yourself aligned and attuned, or do you have that? Like, I mean, for me, I have to stick to a practice to keep me you know, like, you know, but you know, for, you know, and for, I think, you know, most people, they have to, but for you, do you not have to do that? Because you know, are you that lucky?
Well, if I do I used to have like a little routine, which I haven't been doing recently. But if I do things, it does help. I like to, right now I'm doing breath work every morning. I did it this morning, which helps a lot, actually. Keeps me within, because I have such a high vibration. I'm normally floating around. I'm here, but I'm not. So the breath work keeps me in my physical form rather than out. I also meditate as well. I do varied type of meditations. I also download because I use light language, which is another healing modality I use. So I can transmission, and I can, with light language, it's also a way of connecting to source. And I can ask, can you send me codes and information to be grounded and settled? And then I surrender. And then So for me, I use light language a lot to keep me calm because I'm always, most of the time, quite nervous and anxious because of the frequencies I feel around. I feel thousands and thousands of different frequencies from all over the cosmos at the same time. So to keep myself centered, I use that. I also use the violet flame. So everyone can use this. It's very powerful. It's simple to use, but you can literally imagine a violet flame around you, or an orb, or even you can imagine yourself putting a cloak on, and that will protect you from negative energies or thoughts that can come and put you off, and it can calm you down.
Yeah, and these are used quite commonly in meditations and also within yogic practice as well, like visualizing the colors and things to help, with certain chakras, but especially the violet flame, like for healing, and like the colors of blue and gold and things like that, and feeling the light around you. I know myself, this kind of language is normal to me. I grew up with a grandmother who taught me to place like a bubble of light around myself from like 4 or 5 years old. So to some people they're like, what are they talking about? But this is this is normal. I want to touch more on the Akashic records, because some people will be like, what on earth are they talking about? So for people who have never heard about the Akashic records, from my understanding, it's basically records which is known as the Book of Life, and it's like energies within the cosmos that are out there of events that have passed. Would you say that's true? And they can be used as a almost like a self-help tool. And actually attuning yourself to these frequencies can be used through source of prayer and meditation. So for me, this accessing this Book of Life also translates to me as this connection with higher self. And when you meditate, the place that you go to when you meditate, and I'm not talking about looking at a car map for like 5 minutes. I'm talking about the breath work, doing mantras, and actually having that time to zone out and actually really realign and connect. I mean, for years I thought I was doing meditation better, and I was listening to these apps going, it's not working for me, and it's because I didn't understand what it was to meditate at the time. And that might work for some people, but certainly for someone like me, it didn't work. So this collection of knowledge, is supposed to be like non-judgmental. Like, it's not about good and bad. It's just about connecting to this source that is the energy of the universe. And there is a belief that anybody can access it. Would you say that is true, that anyone can access it? Yeah. Yeah.
So it's the same with energy healing too. Anyone can heal. All that is needed is getting in a calm state of mind and surrendering to something more, allowing it to come in. So for the Akashic records, because it's thought of as a book or a story, but there's actually, because there's no time or space, it's just energy. But when we enter it, so we can enter it many different ways. You can enter it in visualization, meditation, and because we are in this lifetime human, so we have a more simple kind of brain compared to other species out there in the universe, like the Palladians, Arcturians, for example. It simplifies it, so we see it as a library. Normally, it's understood to be like a library, and we've had many lifetimes in the past and in the future, because there's no time.
Yeah, I love this, and sometimes I love to remind myself. I mean, people just think I'm nuts, and I go, well, it doesn't matter because there is no time.
It's true. Like, on Earth, we're brought up to understand there is a concept of time, but that's just for Earth. So the Akashic Records, you said, is basically, I like to say, the story of our soul. Everything is happening now, which makes it very confusing and difficult to understand. So that's something, why we're on Earth, one of the things